Hello everyone, this is Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma. It's Stitch of the Week time, and this week it's stitch number 72 and it's called the Grandma's Two Stitch. Now this pattern might have a different name, I just don't know what it is, so I just called it the Grandma Two Stitch. This is a excellent pattern for a beginner or even an experienced crocheter who just wants something very simple to work up quickly. So let me show you my first sample here. This is done in a multicolor, and when you look at the pattern, it just has a little bit of a lacy feel. It's not a basic single crochet. You can see the single crochet row, and then we add a couple double crochet stitches to add just a little bit of laciness because it adds that little bit of edge from that half double crochet stitch. So that's our first sample. The second sample, I always make that classic white. This is what it looks like in classic white. My next sample, I used several different colors, and I change colors in every row. Now when you do it this way, you do have a lot of ends to weave in. So this, I just use the basic white in between each colored row. So every single crochet row is white, and every half double crochet row I used a color. For this pattern, this has a stitch multiple of 2. So you have to chain an even number for this pattern. Grab your yarn, whatever yarn you use, and what I recommend for this pattern is use a larger size hook than the yarn label requires. That way you get the lacier look. Now you can play around with your sample swatch. If you don't want to use that big of a hook, then drop down and see if you like the pattern made with the smaller hook. So it's all up to you on how you want your pattern to look. So for today's sample, I'm using Karen's Simply Soft paints in the color number 21016 Funny Boy. And I give these color numbers and show the yarn because if you like the results and you want to try that, then you have the information of what I used. So this is a 4 medium weight yarn, and again I'm using that large 10.5K 6.5 millimeter hook. So grab whatever yarn you're going to use, grab your hook, and let's get this pattern started. I have my yarn attached to my hook and I just tie a double knot. You can use a slip knot or whatever method you prefer. Now because this is such a simple pattern, I have been asked from my beginning crocheters to add some more simple patterns. I'm just going to do a very short sample today. Usually they're a little bit bigger. We're just going to chain 12. You're going to yarn over the hook, pull it through the loop on your hook, and that creates your first chain. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through, that's 3. I'm going to continue until I have my 12 chains. I have my chain with 12 chains, and now we're going to start row 1. Row 1 is just a basic simple single crochet row. To begin row 1, you're going to skip that first chain, insert into the second chain, and work a single crochet. Yarn over, pull through that chain, you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. I'll show you one more time how to make a single crochet. You're going to insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to work 1 single crochet in each chain, insert into the next chain, and work a single crochet. Insert into the next chain and work a single crochet. So go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each chain across. I'm just going to continue working my single crochet across. It's such a short sample. I'm just going to go ahead and work right across with you. You're inserting in each chain and you're working 1 single crochet. I'm almost over to the end. I'm at my last chain. I'm going to insert right into my ending chain and we're going to work a single crochet. Now we're going to start row 2. So row 2, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to work a half double crochet into that very first single crochet stitch. So follow that chain 1 down and work into the very first stitch. Yarn over the hook, you're going to insert into that first single crochet, yarn over, pull through that stitch. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That creates your half double crochet. So for this pattern, you always start with 1 half double crochet. We're going to start our repeat. Our repeat is you're going to skip the next single crochet, work 2 half double crochet into the next stitch. Skip the next single crochet, work 2 half double crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to work that across your row right to the very end. So let's begin the repeat. If you need help, click back on the video to where I say this is the start of the repeat for row 2 and continue across. You're going to yarn over your hook, you're going to skip that next single crochet, insert into the next single crochet, and work 2 half double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert into that same stitch, and work your second half double crochet. That is the end of the repeat. Very simple stitch pattern. You're going to yarn over, skip that next single crochet, insert into the next single crochet, and work 2 half double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert into that same stitch, work your second half double crochet. Yarn over, skip that next single crochet, insert into the next single crochet, and work a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert into that same stitch, and work your second half double crochet. We're almost to the end. Yarn over, skip that next single crochet, insert into the next single crochet, and work 2 half double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert into that same stitch, and work your second half double crochet. We're over to the end. We have 2 stitches left. We're going to yarn over, you're going to skip that next single crochet, you're going to find that last stitch. If you're not sure where it is, just turn your work and look for that little heart-shaped top. Insert under the top 2 loops of that last stitch and work 2 half double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert back into that stitch, and work your second half double crochet. So row 2 is finished. This is the wrong side of your work. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, yarn over and pull through. We chained 1 and we're turning. Now we're going to start row 3. So for this pattern, rows 2 and 3 are the repeat rows. So if you're new to crocheting, I'm going to pull my hook out here because even though it's a simple pattern, if you're brand new to crocheting, you're going to look at your work and you're going to think these are your 2 loops you work in. These are not the loops. Your top loops are on the top. The 1 is set back in the back. So when you're working this stitch, do not go in these loops here. This is what helps create that design. These loops here have to stay in the front. So when you're working your single crochet across, you're going into this top loop, and then you have to make sure you're going into the one behind. Because when you work the half double crochet, that top stitch kind of, if you look at your work here, that's your top loop and that is your back. It just falls down behind a little bit. So just make sure you're not working in these loops. You have to work in this loop and this loop. So let me put my hook back in and get tightened up. It's just the little things I try to point out because sometimes we forget as more experienced crocheters that this is foreign to people who are just starting. It's brand new and it just looks a little confusing to them. So that's why I try to go over that. We already chained one, so you're going to follow that chain one down to that first half double crochet stitch. You're going to make sure you go above this strand of yarn here, and you're just going under that top loop, and then make sure you push your hook all the way through and get that second loop behind. You're going to work a single crochet. You're going to insert your hook into the next stitch. Make sure you go above that bottom strand that's going crossways and just go under the top loop. Push your hook to the back and make sure you get that second loop. Work a single crochet, and you're just going to continue in that manner across the row. Insert into the next stitch, work that single crochet, insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, and when you're looking at your work you can see that little bit of laciness from that half double crochet that stays in your stitch. And you're always working right under the stitches and going right between those two strands of yarn. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, and rows 2 and 3 are your repeat rows. It's a very simple pattern. You're just going to work that single crochet right across your row. So work 1 single crochet in each stitch across. Now I'm over to the end, and you're going to see you have your ending half double crochet and you have that chain 1. You ignore the chain 1, that does not count as a stitch. Just make sure you go under that top 2 loops of that last stitch. You'll see this last horizontal bar of thread here. Go between that, go above it, and go right under those top 2 strands and work your single crochet. And that is all there is to this pattern. So I'm going to work 2 more rows with you. I'm going to work them quickly, so if you need help you can click back on the video where I went a little bit slower. So just to show you one more time, we're going to repeat rows 2 and 3 again of the repeat rows. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. You're going to skip that beginning chain 1 and you're going to work a half double crochet into this first stitch. Yarn over the hook, insert into that first single crochet, and work a half double crochet. You're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to work 2 half double crochet into this next stitch. Yarn over the hook, skip the next stitch, insert into the next single crochet, and work 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. You're going to, sorry if you hear my dog howling in the back. So let's finish across. You're going to yarn over, skip the next single crochet, insert into the next stitch, and work 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next single crochet, insert into the next stitch, and work 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next single crochet, insert into the next stitch, and work 2 half double crochet. 1 and 2. We're over to the end. You should have 2 stitches remaining. You're going to yarn over, skip that next single crochet, insert into that last single crochet, and end with 2 half double crochet in that last single crochet across. So row 4 is finished. Now we're going to repeat row 3, which is actually row 5. So we're going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work. You're going to skip that beginning chain 1, insert into the top of that first half double crochet, and single crochet. Insert into the top of the next stitch, and work a single crochet. For this row, we're going to single crochet in the top of each half double crochet across. And you can see that your hook is going between those two vertical strands of yarn. You're going right underneath the top one, in between the one below, and you're grabbing that back loop and you're working a single crochet. So work one single crochet in each stitch across. You end this pattern with row 3 with the single crochet row. Because we start the pattern with a single crochet row, we're going to end the pattern with a single crochet row. So when you're over at your end, if you have trouble trying to figure out where your end stitch is, because again, new crocheters get a little confused at the start and end of the row, you may want to put a stitch marker into this ending stitch. Here's the ending stitch. I'm going to go ahead and work my single crochet. And once you work that stitch, if you want to put a stitch marker in it, when you make that stitch and when you start the row, when you make this stitch, so when you come back across, you know this is your ending stitch. And that's for new crocheters who may be confused of where the start and end of the row is. So this is the pattern. You can see that little bit of laciness to it. Very simple pattern. So again, you start with that single crochet row, and when you end your pattern, you should end with your single crochet row. You repeat rows 2 and 3 for the pattern. So let me show you the samples again. This is our little sample here, and you can see this. Let me zoom out just a little bit more so you can see how that half double crochet just creates a little bit of a textured look, a little bit nicer than just the plain old single crochet. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch pattern today. It's a very simple basic stitch pattern for those beginner crocheters who are trying to learn something just a little bit different, and it's a great pattern for my more experienced crocheters who just like to sit in front of the TV and whip up those quick baby afghans or quick afghans. So thank you everyone for stopping by. Remember, all my Stitch of the Week are free patterns available on my website, creativegrandma.net. Just click that Stitch of the Week button on top, scroll down to whatever stitch you want, click on the name of the stitch, and you can download that pattern right to your computer. I'll have the link in my description box as well for your convenience. Happy crocheting, everyone!